I cheated on my wife and now she's ghosted me without a word. I never imagined that the weight of my confession would be so heavy, so crushing. I'm Sam, 32 years old, and tonight, the truth I've been hiding for months is poised to destroy the life I've built with Laura. I sit at the kitchen table, the dim light casting long shadows on the walls, making the room feel colder than it ever has. My hands tremble slightly, gripping the edge of the table as I try to steady my voice. Laura, I need to tell you something. Begin, each word feeling like a stab in my chest. I take a deep breath, trying to muster the courage to say what I've been dreading. I've been unfaithful. Words hang in the air, a heavy, suffocating fog that fills the space between us. Laura's gaze is fixed on the table, her eyes avoiding mine. I can't read her expression, and it terrifies me more than any outburst or confrontation. I expected anger, accusations, tears, anything but this chilling silence. I'm so sorry. Continue, my voice breaking. Can't bear to see her like this, so distant, so unreachable. I never meant for this to happen. It was a mistake, an unforgivable, selfish mistake. Still, Laura doesn't respond. Her silence is like a physical presence, a wall between us that seems to grow taller with each passing second. I feel the weight of my betrayal more acutely than ever before. Every second of her silence feels like an eternity, stretching out and consuming me with its cold, unfeeling presence. I shift in my seat, trying to find comfort in the familiar surroundings of our home. The kitchen, once a place of warmth and shared moments, now feels alien and hostile. The small details of our life together, family photos on the wall, the mugs in the cabinet, seem to mock me with their familiarity. I reach out, my hand trembling as it hovers above the table, desperately seeking some sign of acknowledgement, some hint that she's still there, still listening. Please say something, I plead, my voice barely more than a whisper. I don't know what to do. I'm lost here. Laura remains silent, her eyes still fixed on the table, her face a mask of stillness. Her silence is more punishing than any words could be. Each moment stretches into infinity, and I find myself drowning in my own guilt and anxiety. I can't escape the feeling that I've crossed a line from which there's no return. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness, I say, my voice cracking under the strain of my remorse. But I want to make this right. I want to fix this. That's even possible. The realization hits me with the force of a physical blow. There might be nothing left to fix. The silence that surrounds us is a harsh reminder of the void I've created between us. The weight of my actions settles heavily on my shoulders, and I am left alone with my thoughts, struggling to come to terms with the enormity of what I've done. I can't bear the thought of losing her, of watching the life we built together crumble into nothing. Every corner of our home, every object in the room, seems to bear witness to my betrayal. I look around, searching for something, anything, that could bridge the chasm I've created. But there's nothing, only silence. As the minutes tick by, I feel my hope wane. I try to speak again, my voice trembling as I attempt to reach out to her. Laura, I know I've hurt you. I know I've betrayed your trust, but please, don't shut me out. Don't leave me like this. The silence persists, an impenetrable barrier that I can't cross. I find myself grappling with the harsh reality that Laura might have already made her decision, that she might have chosen to end things without even giving me the chance to make amends. The thought is unbearable, and I feel a wave of panic and sorrow wash over me. Glance at the clock on the wall, each tick a reminder of the time slipping away, of the moments I've wasted and the trust I've shattered. The familiar rhythm of the house, the hum of the refrigerator, the distant sound of traffic, seems to mock me. Cruel reminder of what once was. I reach out again, my hand brushing against hers, hoping for some reaction, some sign of life. But she remains unmoved, her silence more profound than any words she could utter. The emptiness in the room feels overwhelming, a physical presence that presses down on me, making it hard to breathe. The more I plead, the more I realize how alone I am in this moment. The gulf between us feels insurmountable, and I am left grappling with the consequences of my actions, the pain I've caused, and the overwhelming sense of loss. I don't know what else to say, I admit, my voice breaking as the tears well up in my eyes. I'm so sorry, Laura. I don't know if there's anything I can do to make this right, but I want to try. I need to try. The silence remains, unyielding and absolute. It's a silence that speaks volumes, a silence that tells me that the damage I've done might be too great to repair. I sit there, overwhelmed by the enormity of the situation, my heart aching with the realization that I might have lost her forever. As I sit alone in the kitchen, echoes of my confession reverberating through the empty room, I am left with nothing but my own guilt and regret. Silence is all that remains, a stark reminder of the price I'm paying for my betrayal. Days have turned into a blur of emptiness and dread. The silence that followed my confession has settled into an oppressive weight. The once vibrant echoes of our shared life have faded, leaving me with an overwhelming sense of isolation. Laura's absence is not just a physical one. It feels like a gaping wound in the very fabric of my existence. The first hint of her departure came with the small, almost imperceptible changes around the house. I noticed her favorite coffee mug missing from the cabinet. A simple object, but one that had always been a comforting part of our morning routine. I tried to convince myself it was nothing, that she'd just moved it, taken it somewhere. But as the days wore on, I began to see more signs that something was dreadfully wrong. The next day, I found that her toiletries were gone from the bathroom. The neatly arranged bottles and jars, her shampoo, conditioner, and face cream, had all vanished. I stood in the bathroom, staring at the empty space where her things used to be, feeling a cold knot of dread in my stomach. I tried to convince myself that maybe she had decided to clean up, to rearrange things. But deep down, I knew that wasn't it. It wasn't just the small items that disappeared. Her clothes, which had once filled our closet with vibrant colors and textures, were now missing. The hangers in her section of the closet swung emptily, each one a stark reminder of her absence. I touched the fabric of the remaining clothes, trying to find some semblance of her, but it was like grasping at shadows. The house, once filled with the hum of life, felt eerily quiet. The silence was profound, almost deafening. I would walk through each room, hoping to find some trace of her, some sign that she was still there, still a part of our lives. But each room greeted me with emptiness, a void that seemed to grow larger with every passing day. I tried to maintain some semblance of normalcy, going through the motions of daily life. I made coffee in the mornings, but it tasted bitter without her presence. I cooked dinner, but the table sat empty, a stark reminder of the meals we used to share. Every task felt meaningless, a futile attempt to fill the void that her absence had created. I called her repeatedly, leaving messages that grew increasingly desperate. My voice cracked as I tried to reach out, to understand where she had gone and why she wasn't responding. Each voicemail was met with silence, the lack of a response becoming its own form of torment. I sent texts, emails, even letters, pouring out my remorse and pleading for a chance to talk. But my messages went unanswered, swallowed by the void that had replaced our connection. The silence of departure was suffocating. It wasn't just the physical emptiness that was overwhelming, but the emotional isolation that came with it. I felt like I was drifting in a sea of regret, with no anchor to hold me steady. My thoughts were consumed by the weight of my actions, the damage I had caused, and the profound realization that I had lost something irreplaceable. One evening, I sat on the porch, staring out at the street. The world outside seemed to go on as if nothing had changed, while I was trapped in a nightmare of my own making. The neighbors went about their lives, their laughter and conversations, a sharp contrast to the silence that enveloped me. I watched the sunset, feeling the weight of my regret grow heavier. The sky darkened. The night brought with it a profound sense of loneliness, and I wondered if Laura would ever return, or if this silence was her final goodbye. I tried to find solace in the routine of the house. I cleaned and organized, hoping that in doing so I could somehow repair the damage I had done. But every effort felt hollow, mere distraction from the overwhelming reality of her absence. The house, once a place of comfort and love, now felt like a museum of our broken past. In my moments of desperation, I found myself searching for answers in the places we used to go together. I drove past her favorite coffee shop, hoping to catch a glimpse of her. I walked through the park where we used to take our evening strolls, looking for any sign that she might be there. But each time I was met with the harsh reality that she was gone, and I was left with nothing but the echoes of our shared memories. As the days turned into weeks, the reality of her absence began to sink in. I started to accept that Laura might have made the decision to leave for good. The silence that had once been a source of anxiety was now a constant companion, a reminder of the consequences of my actions. I found myself grappling with the harsh truth that I had lost her, and that the silence of departure was a reflection of the irreparable damage I had caused. I tried to reach out to friends and family, seeking support and comfort, but even their words of sympathy felt inadequate in the face of the profound emptiness I was experiencing. The conversations were filled with well-meaning advice and concern, but they couldn't fill the void left by Laura's departure. I was left to navigate my grief and regret alone, with only the silence to keep me company. In the quiet moments of the night, I would lie in bed, staring at the empty space beside me. The silence was a constant reminder of the love that had been lost, trust that had been shattered. I would replay our last conversations, searching for clues, for any sign that I could have done something differently. But the reality was that I had made a mistake that had cost me the most important person in my life. The house continued to feel emptier with each passing day. The walls, once filled with the warmth of our love and laughter, now seemed to close in on me. I found myself wandering through the rooms, seeking some sense of closure, some sign that things could be repaired. But the only thing that remained was the oppressive silence. Constant reminder of the price I was paying for my betrayal. In the end, the silence of departure became a symbol of the irreparable damage I had caused. It was a harsh, unyielding reality that I had to face, a constant reminder of the consequences of my actions. As I continued to navigate the emptiness of my life without Laura, I found myself struggling to come to terms with the profound loss and the overwhelming guilt that had become a part of my existence. The silence of Laura's departure has settled into my bones, and each day feels like a trial of endurance. I'm consumed by a gnawing sense of desperation and regret, my efforts to find her becoming increasingly frantic and disjointed. My name is Sam. I'm drowning in the wreckage of my own making. Each morning I wake up with a sense of false hope, only to be met with the harsh reality of her absence. I start my day with the same futile routine, hoping that something will change, that she'll come back and everything will be normal again. But as the sun rises, I'm reminded of the emptiness that now defines my life. I scour every place she might have gone, from the coffee shops she used to frequent, to the parks where we shared countless walks. I visit her favorite haunts, asking anyone who might have seen her. My questions are met with sympathetic glances and polite but unhelpful responses. The more I search, the more I realize how isolated I am from the life we once shared. At first, I cling to the hope she'll just walk through the door, that I'll catch a glimpse of her at one of our old spots. I spend hours driving through the city, my eyes scanning the sidewalk, the windows of cafes, and the parks we used to visit. Each time I come up empty-handed, the despair grows more intense, wrapping itself around me like a suffocating shroud. I reach out to our mutual friends, hoping they might know something, anything, about her whereabouts. I call them, text them, and even show up at their homes unannounced. My desperation makes me feel like a shadow of my former self. I plead for information, for any sign that Laura might be willing to talk to me. My efforts only seem to isolate me further. They offer me sympathy. Their words feel hollow, inadequate in the face of my growing remorse. In my desperation, I find myself engaging in increasingly irrational behaviors. I go to the places we frequented together, hoping to spot her or leave a message for her. I hang around the local cafe, hoping that she'll show up, that she'll read my messages pinned to the bulletin board. I even resort to leaving notes under the windshield wipers of cars that look like hers. Futile attempt to reach her through indirect means. Each failed attempt adds to my sense of isolation and regret. At night, I lie awake, the weight of my actions pressing down on me. The silence of the house is deafening, constant reminder of the void left by Laura's absence. I replay our conversations, trying to pinpoint the moment when things began to unravel. I search for signs, clues that might explain why she left, and why she hasn't contacted me. But each night ends with the same crushing realization that I am alone in the wreckage of my mistake. My attempts to reach out to Laura have become increasingly desperate. I send her messages through every medium I can think of: texts, emails, social media. I write letters, pouring out my heart, begging for a chance to explain, to make things right. I apologize over and over, hoping that somehow my words will reach her, that she'll see the depth of my remorse. But each message is met with silence. My pleas only seem to amplify my sense of isolation. The more I search, the more I come to understand the depth of the damage I've caused. Each unanswered call, each ignored message, feels like a knife twisting deeper into the wound I've created. Regret is overwhelming, relentless tide that pulls me under, leaving me gasping for breath. One evening, I find myself standing outside our old apartment building, staring up at the windows of the place we used to call home. I wonder if she might have come back to collect her things, or if she might be there, somewhere, just out of reach. I stand there for hours, watching the building, hoping for some sign of her presence. But as the night falls, I am met with nothing but the cold, indifferent darkness. In my most desperate moments, I try to reach out to her family, hoping they might be able to convince her to talk to me. Call her parents, her siblings, anyone who might have a chance of reaching her. I plead with them to pass on my messages, to tell her that I'm sorry, that I want to make things right. But their responses are kind but firm, emphasizing that they don't know where she is or how to reach her. The isolation becomes almost unbearable. My days are consumed by the search, and my nights are filled with regret. I find myself withdrawing from everyone around me, unable to connect with friends or family. The gulf between me and the world seems to widen, and I am left to grapple with the reality of my actions and the consequences they have wrought. I try to keep busy, to distract myself from the gnawing sense of regret that constantly gnaws at me. I immerse myself in work, hoping that the demands of my job will provide a temporary escape from the pain. I throw myself into projects, work long hours, and take on extra tasks, but nothing can fill the void left by Laura's departure. The work, once a source of satisfaction, now feels hollow and meaningless in the face of my personal turmoil. As the days stretch on, I begin to accept the harsh reality that Laura might never come back. The silence that has followed her departure is a constant reminder of the damage I've done, the love I've lost. My desperate searches and pleas for reconciliation only serve to amplify my sense of isolation and remorse. Each failed attempt to reach her is a painful reminder of the chasm that now exists between us. The regret I feel is all-consuming. I replay every moment of our time together, trying to understand what went wrong, what I could have done differently. I agonize over every decision, every choice that led to this point. The weight of my actions is a constant presence, a reminder of the love I betrayed and the trust I shattered. In the end, my desperate searches only serve to deepen the sense of isolation and regret that has taken over my life. The silence of Laura's departure is a constant reminder of the consequences of my actions, a harsh reality that I must face. As I continue to navigate the emptiness and sorrow, I am left to grapple with the profound sense of loss and the overwhelming guilt that has become a part of my existence. The silence of the house has become my constant companion, an unrelenting reminder of the life I've lost. I'm Sam, and as I sit alone in the emptiness, I find myself adrift in a sea of memories, each one a painful reminder of the happiness that once was. My heart aches with the weight of regret as I reflect on our life together and the damage I've wrought. I sit in the living room, staring at the family photos that line the shelves. Each picture tells a story, a snapshot of happier times, moments when laughter and love filled our home. I see us in our early days, full of hope and promise. There we are on our wedding day, radiant and in love, with eyes that held the promise of a future together. I see us on vacations, exploring new places with excitement and joy. Photos are a stark contrast to the emptiness that now surrounds me. I pick up a framed photograph of Laura and me from a shelf. We're smiling, our faces lit up with genuine happiness. I remember that day vividly, one of the many beautiful moments we shared. We had spent the day at the beach, laughing and enjoying each other's company. It was a day filled with warmth and love, a day that now feels like a distant dream. I trace the outline of Laura's face in the photo, my fingers brushing against the glass as if hoping to touch a piece of the past. As I reflect on those happier times, I can't help but confront the pain of my betrayal. I think about the lies I told, the deceit I engaged in. I replay the moments when I should have been honest and open, but chose instead to hide my actions. Each memory is a reminder of the trust I shattered, the love I betrayed. I remember the times Laura would surprise me with small acts of love, an unexpected dinner, a handwritten note, a gentle touch. She always made an effort to show me how much she cared. I think about the conversations we had, the dreams we shared, and the plans we made for our future. I remember how we talked about growing old together, about building a life filled with love and laughter. Now, those dreams feel like a cruel joke, a reminder of what could have been if only I hadn't betrayed her trust. The weight of my actions presses down on me as I sift through old letters and mementos. I find a stack of love letters Laura had written to me over the years. Each one is filled with heartfelt words, expressions of her love and devotion. I read them with a growing sense of guilt and sorrow. Her words, once a source of comfort, now cut through me like a knife. I see the depth of her love and the pain my betrayal has caused. It's a stark reminder of the emotional devastation I've wrought. I move to the bedroom, where I find more reminders of our life together. I touch the soft fabric of the quilt that Laura had chosen, the one that once warmed us both on cold nights. I remember the times we'd lie in bed, talking about our hopes and fears, sharing our dreams. Those moments of intimacy and connection now feel like a distant memory, overshadowed by the betrayal I've inflicted. I sit on the edge of the bed, the weight of my regret almost too much to bear. I think about the times Laura had supported me through difficult times she stood by my side, offering love and understanding. I remember her compassion, kindness, and her unwavering support. I realize how much I took that for granted, how I failed to appreciate the depth of her love until it was too late. I start to confront my own faults, the reasons behind my betrayal. I think about the mistakes I made, choices I regretted. I acknowledge the ways in which I failed to communicate, the ways I failed to be the partner Laura deserved. I confront the insecurities and weaknesses that drove me to seek validation elsewhere, the shortcomings that led me down a path of deceit. The realization of my own faults is both humbling and painful. I see the ways in which I failed, not only Laura, also myself. I see the consequences of my actions, the damage to our marriage, the hurt I caused, and the loss of the future we had envisioned together. The weight of this knowledge is almost unbearable, a constant reminder of the gravity of my mistakes. As I reflect on our life together, I also grapple with the reality of our separation. I think about the life Laura is now living, choices she's made in response to my betrayal. I wonder if she's found solace, if she's found a way to move on. I imagine her creating a new life for herself, one free from the pain I inflicted. The thought is both heart-wrenching and sobering. The house, once filled with love and laughter, now feels like a mausoleum of our past. The echoes of our shared memories linger in the empty spaces, a haunting reminder of what once was. I walk through the rooms, each one a testament to the life we built together. The silence is heavy, a constant reminder of the void left by Laura's departure. I struggle to come to terms with the reality of my action. I try to find some sense of closure, some way to make amends, but the reality is that I've done irreparable damage. The realization that I've lost Laura, that I've shattered the life we built together, is almost too much to bear. In my moments of reflection, I find myself grappling with the profound sense of loss and guilt. I know that I can never undo the damage I've caused, that I can never fully repair the trust I've broken. The echoes of the past serve as a constant reminder of the love I've lost and the mistakes I've made. As I continue to reflect on our life together, I am left with the painful realization that I must face the consequences of my actions. The memories of our happier times are a bittersweet reminder of what could have been, of the life we could have shared if only I had been true to Laura. The weight of my betrayal is a constant presence, a reminder of the love I lost and the future I will never have. The echoes of the past continue to haunt me, a constant reminder of the price I've paid for my mistakes. As I grapple with the profound sense of regret and loss, I am left to navigate the emptiness and sorrow that have become a part of my existence. The journey of self-reflection is painful and humbling, but it is a necessary step in coming to terms with the reality of my actions and the consequences they have wrought. The days blend into one another in a haze of regret and self-reckoning. I'm Sam, 32 years old, and as I sit in the emptiness of our home, I finally face the harsh truth of my action. Laura is gone, and with her absence comes the undeniable reality that she has chosen to move on. The void she's left behind is vast and unforgiving, constant reminder of the consequences of my betrayal. The house, once a place of warmth and shared memories, now feels like a cold, desolate shell. I wander through the rooms, each one echoing with the ghosts of our past. The silence is profound, a stark contrast, the laughter and conversations that once filled these spaces. I can almost hear the echoes of our happy moments, the sound of Laura's laughter, but they are fleeting and insubstantial, drowned out by the weight of my regret. I sit on the edge of the bed, staring at the empty space where Laura used to sleep. The spot is cold and untouched, a stark reminder of her absence. I try to grasp the reality of the situation, but it feels like an insurmountable chasm. I am left with nothing but the remnants of our life together, the memories that now serve as a painful reminder of what I've lost. The harsh truth of my actions settles over me like a heavy shroud. I betrayed Laura's trust, shattered our marriage, and pushed her to a place where she felt she had no choice but to leave. I think about the lies I told, the deceit I engaged in, and the love I took for granted. Each realization hits me like a punch to the gut, a reminder of the pain I've caused and the life I've ruined. In the quiet of the house, I confront the full weight of my remorse. I reflect on the choices that led me here, the moments when I could have acted differently. I think about the times Laura reached out to me, times she showed me love and support. I remember her kindness, her patience, and the ways in which she tried to make our relationship work. Realization that I failed to appreciate her, that I took her love for granted, is a bitter pill to swallow. I pick up a photo album from the shelf, flipping through the pages filled with pictures of our life together. Each photo is a snapshot of happier times, moments of joy and connection. I see us celebrating anniversaries, enjoying vacations, and simply being together. The images are a stark contrast to the reality of my current situation, a painful reminder of the love I've lost. As I look through the album, I try to find some solace in the memory. I search for a way to make peace with the past, but the reality is I can never undo the damage I've caused. Photos serve as a constant reminder of the life we once had, a life that is now forever out of reach. I reach out to Laura one last time, hoping against hope that she might respond. I leave a message, pouring out my heart, expressing my regret and sorrow. I ask for forgiveness, for a chance to make amends, but I know deep down that it may be too late. The silence that follows is deafening, a clear indication that Laura has made her decision, and that there's nothing left for me to do but accept the reality of our situation. The days stretch into weeks, and I find myself grappling with the void that Laura's absence has created. I try to fill the emptiness with work, distractions, but nothing seems to take away the overwhelming sense of loss. The house feels like a tomb, a place where the echoes of the past linger, haunting me with the memories of what once was. I start to come to terms with the fact that Laura has chosen to move on. I understand that her decision to leave was not made lightly, that it was a response to the hurt and betrayal I inflicted upon her. The realization is a bitter pill to swallow, but it's a truth I must face. I have to accept that she deserves to find happiness, even if it means that happiness is no longer with me. The process of accepting this reality is painful and humbling. I confront the harsh truth of my actions, the ways in which I failed Laura, and the consequences of my betrayal. I realize that I must take responsibility for the damage I've caused, and that there's no easy way to make amends or undo the harm I've done. As I navigate this new reality, I try to find a way to move forward. I seek solace in the small things, moments of quiet reflection, small acts of self-care, and the support of friends who have stood by me. I understand that healing will take time, and that the journey will be long and difficult. but I am determined to face the consequences of my actions and to learn from the experience. The void left by Laura's departure is a constant reminder of the love I've lost and the mistakes I've made. It's a painful but necessary part of my journey toward self-discovery and growth. I know that I must confront my own faults and work towards becoming a better person, both for myself and for those around me. As I look to the future, I am filled with a sense of hope, albeit tempered by the reality of my past. I understand that the road ahead will be challenging, but I am committed to facing it, honesty and humility. I know that I can never fully erase the pain I've caused, but I am determined to learn from my mistakes and to strive for a better future. In the end, facing the void is about coming to terms with the reality of my actions and accepting the consequences they've wrought. It's about acknowledging the hurt I've caused, taking responsibility for my mistakes, and working towards a path of healing and growth. The journey is far from over, but it's a journey I must undertake with courage and resolve. As I sit in the quiet of the house, I am left with the echoes of the past and the harsh truths of my action. Void is a constant presence, a reminder of the love I've lost and the mistakes I've made. But it's also a reminder of the possibility of change, the chance to learn from my experiences and to build a better future. The road ahead may be uncertain, but it's a road I am determined to travel, one step at a time. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss our next video. See you next time.